Oni 16. And as we're back to the black, because I think it's probably easier for me to read. Justice? That is precisely the reason why I must avoid piling up a mountain of corpses for no reason. The Pope's words still reverberate in my ears. That old man, abiding by his own unshakable will, has continued to kill the very people he should protect by his own hands, so that many will live and the few will be killed. He has the will and power to implement that without even hesitating for an instant. To murder is wrong. Doubts like how and why have no point. The reason why to murder people is wrong. It's not something that can be explained by theory. That's what must be done must be done. Must not be done must not be done. I was wrong. It isn't easier to read. Some psychological probably that's messing me up. I don't know. That's all there is to it. Not because of some theory, but the reason why people are people is precisely because they avoid such actions. However, then, what if you had to do what must not be done because you had people you wanted to protect? What if, despite knowing that it must not be done, that there was no other available option? What the Pope is doing, are actions to transform the way the world should be for his own convenience. However, it is not being pursued for his own personal benefit, but out of genuine concern for the world. For the sake of the world, denying himself, even while sacrificing many, he is saving even more people. Are such actions an act of justice, or are they an act of evil? Trying to save someone is surely an act of justice. To kill someone is surely an act of evil. In the case when it's both of them, how on earth can you determine the correct interpretation? I don't know. Is that something right, or is that something wrong? However, there's one thing that I do understand, that for the Pope, even if you try to tell him to face that it is wrong, tell him to his face that it is wrong, I'm sure he will not waver from his path. While having the gentle expression on his face, that old man harbors in his eyes conviction that borders of insanity. No matter what happens, I can declare that he will not stop. If he does happen to stop, I'm sure it will be, as he himself said, only when the world is saved, or otherwise when his body and soul fall into ruin. Is the path the Pope has chosen right, or is it wrong? For the sake of argument, even if he made a mistake, I'm sure he would just use that as a source of motivation to stand up once again until his body and soul fall into ruin. He's terrifying. That belief goes to extremes, is not something expressed in values, status values, or skills, an absurd power. Yeah. If we fought directly, I would surely win. However, that victory would be totally meaningless. Even if he dies, we will rise up once again and yet again. There is nobody with more unyielding heart. What about me, then? In that sense, I'm terribly weak, to the extent that I briefly wished for death, being unable to tolerate the crimes I committed myself. In spite of that, once I was saved, I didn't want to die. That's just how wretched my feelings are, and how weak I am. My status values and skills are probably high even at a global level, although I have been made to realize that there is always someone better than you. Even still, I'm well above the average. Despite the power that I hold, my heart is far too weak. I'm unbalanced. I have got to get stronger as well. Unlike that Pope, I cannot reach the level of his madness, nor do I think I can even aim for it. Even still, I will take responsibility for the path I have taken to get here, and I must take actions to make the most of it. That is the line I will draw for myself. For the weak-hearted me, that is the excuse I will use to forgive myself. My status is already fully recovered. It is the time I stopped idling in this mansion. I must take action. From now on, I must also find out just how the world should be. I will talk to Shiro-san, to ask Shiro-san where she is heading to ask what methods she will use to reach there. If she overlaps with my own path, then I will gladly cooperate with Shiro-san. If it's not, then I shall pray that it's not. At the time when I had made that resolution, even though it was mealtime, it was unusual for Shiro-san to have not returned. Instead, like a shadow of her true self, Sophia-san was sitting there, having barely touched her food. I think she is probably also wondering about many different things from meeting with the Pope. What's on her mind is likely so mixed up that I couldn't even guess. She was originally born in a country that followed the goddess religion, and I heard that her hometown was destroyed by the divine word religion. I had also experienced my goblin village being destroyed by humans, so I can well understand her feelings. That fury, strong enough that you could forget yourself in anger and hatred. In my case, I achieved my revenge by my own hands. However, Sophia-san cannot do that. It's not that she can't even try, but more like she won't. Because she realized just how determined the Pope was in that conference. Nevertheless, having seen his unstoppable belief, I'm sure that Sophia-san would realize that it would have been totally meaningless to kill the Pope in that place. Is revenge an act of justice? I don't know that. However, because I've experienced it myself, what I do understand is that without achieving revenge, it's not possible to move on. To this day, Sophia-san has lived without being able to achieve revenge. Isn't it precisely because of that she has easily crossed over the line that most people should not cross, and run down the path of injustice? The flames of revenge that remain in her heart must have warped Sophia-san's personality. I've come to think that way. And now, if she tries to confront him as a target for revenge, she knows that she won't be able to achieve revenge no matter what. Normally, she would be able to gain satisfaction from sending him to his death. However, that Pope is an exception. Even if he's killed, there's no meaning to it. If you want to achieve revenge against him, it will be necessary to break his spirit. I'm sure that Sophia-san also realizes just how difficult that would be. While still barely having touched her food, Sophia-san stands up. How about you eat a bit more? I called out to her totally without thinking. Totally out, I think. Because in Sophia-san's eyes, I saw an unconcealable irritation. He's out, like he's... Oh no! Where are the translator notes? Are they not here, or did he actually not do any? There's no way he didn't do any. They're always here. Well, I guess we don't see them with this. No one complained the last time I did this. I don't think anybody cares that much, so I think I'm probably just going to keep with this. Because it probably is easier to read. I don't know why I have such a hard time with this. It's probably psychological to some degree. Maybe stress or something getting to me. I don't know. My sister once told me very, very long ago that I should read ahead while I'm talking so that I know what I'm going to say before I say it. And that makes no sense to me at all and is not what I do. Well, no, I feel like I have done that once or twice before. It's just weird. It's very weird. But yeah. Cool.